The United States and China have agreed to slash tariffs for 90 days, a major de-escalation in a trade war that's disrupted the global economy and set financial markets on edge. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said both countries would lower their reciprocal tariffs by 115% for the 90-day period. Let's take a listen to him speaking.
We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moved down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%.
We're going to get more on this story in our weekly Asia View segment. This Monday, we're joined by Patrick Fock in Hong Kong. Patrick, tell us more about these latest developments and how are people reacting in China?
Well, that is an important breaking development we're hearing just now. Both sides have been upbeat about the talks. As we know, Chinese media in particular have been very positive about the potential outcomes of these discussions in Geneva. Now we understand why. We're getting more detail in. Just a short while ago, as we heard, there's going to be a 90-day reprieve on the tariffs while the two sides continue to negotiate with one another, bringing down the tariffs as well by 115%. That means that tariffs on Chinese goods are brought down to 30% now and 10% on US goods. I think it's fair to say that that exceeds markets' expectations as well. So this is a very important development. And, you know, we had been hearing a lot of positive language out from both sides following these discussions in Switzerland. Importantly, one of the things that's been notable, certainly from the Chinese perspective, is the manner in which these talks were conducted. He Feng had praised the American side for their professionalism and for their pragmatic approach to trying to resolve differences between the two sides. And I think it's fair to say that that wasn't necessarily always going to be the case. There was a lot of concern from the Chinese side in particular that the Americans wouldn't engage in a respectful manner. And certainly some of the language that President Donald Trump had used prior to all of this and the lead up to this had been highly provocative in many ways. So this really allowed them both to have an off-ramp. That's important. Economists have said that because, you know, these tariffs are really biting both sides and also having a major impact on the global economy as well. So this really allowed them to pave the way for a way forward without either side having to lose face. And the devil was always going to be in the detail. We're getting information on what this deal involves now. You know, some of the economists I had spoken to previously had managed expectations in many ways because they said that, you know, 145%, even if you bring the tariffs down to 60%, that doesn't really move the needle a lot. So as I say, this really far exceeds market and investor expectations, but there is still no doubt a lot of work to be done ahead in the next 90 days.
All right, Patrick, we're going to shift to news elsewhere in the region now. Millions of people are heading to the polls in the Philippines in midterm elections. What's at stake here?
Yeah, well, one of the most intriguing things about these midterm elections is that one of the key mayoral candidates is none other than Rodrigo Duterte. And as we know, he isn't even in the Philippines. He is in The Hague awaiting trial for crimes against humanity over his war on drugs. But he is still eligible to run under Philippine law. There are thousands of seats up for grabs, different positions, all the way from district councillor to mayoral positions and all the way up to the legislature as well. And the important thing about these midterm elections is that essentially it pits candidates backed by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. against candidates backed by Sarah Duterte, the vice president and daughter of Rodrigo Duterte. So the outcome could have a significant impact on this power struggle between two major Philippine political dynasties. And the essential thing is that if President Marcos wins, or the candidates he backs wins more Senate seats, then it paves the way potentially for Sarah Duterte to be impeached for alleged misuse of funds. So that would have a very big ramification on her political career. And, you know, these are really midterm elections that could pave the way for Philippine elections, Philippine politics head in a very specific direction. And already we're hearing reports of violence and killings. And so it is a highly charged atmosphere that we're seeing right now.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much for that update in our Asia View segment. Patrick Falk there.